It is Thursday, November 18th, a week before what we recognize as the national holiday of Thanksgiving. This is PMAT and
Odorless.
Memphis Metro Church. And here we are with another session, this is our platform where we just kind of talk about issues and stuff. And so we kind of stay away from taking a text and preaching at you. We just kind of talk about real deal life stuff. And so this week we're talking about
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, gratitude. And so if you know people that are perhaps struggling at this time of the year because of different circumstances, conditions, things like that. We just want to have a conversation around the thought of gratitude and what it means to have a heart of thanksgiving. So, why don't you start?
Hmm. I guess in thinking about being thankful, you just initially you just start with the things that make you feel good. That's usually the first things you say you're thankful for. You know, thankful that I woke up this morning. That's a good thing. Thankful that I was able to get dressed and eat and had food and clothing and shelter. So typically, when you're thinking about being thankful, you think of the good things first.
Yeah. So, after having the kind of year and a half, almost 2 years of pandemic and adjustment and um, the challenges of loss and transition and grief, Thanksgiving and gratitude can be a hard thing to drum up within yourself. And part of what um, I think our conversation today can do is I just want to ask some questions. I want to ask some questions, pose some questions to those of you that are watching. And if you have opportunity to review this later, you may want to share it with some people about this thought of Thanksgiving and gratitude. What does it mean to have a heart of Thanksgiving, a disposition of gratitude? And so I don't know if people still say this, but I'm going to say it. Let me keep it 100. I don't think that's a real thing anymore.
Hmm. I think so.
Think so.
I think so.
Okay. So it's Thursday, and I just got off work, a long day at work. And so I consider myself um, bivocational in that I work in two separate functions and different careers. And so the 8 to 5 Monday through Friday gig is um, trying to find a way to say it. It's the position of helping to support and sustain family and I've been a ministry professional, full time ministry, and still bivocational, and so I consider myself still a ministry professional. Um, but the dynamics of the church suggests that at this time I'm not full time compensated or full time salaried in that measure. Um, and so some of that is frustrating when you know what your calling is, but you are doing something different than what your calling is. And so sometimes what happens or what can interrupt gratitude is frustration. And sometimes that frustration can start speaking louder than the gratitude because you've been waiting, or you're getting impatient, or you think you've been in one place too long, or you think the pain is too unbearable. You think your ends haven't been introduced. I mean, they ain't meeting at all.
Mhm.
They haven't even seen each other, and so you're trying to find a way forward. And so that frustration sometimes comes up, and it's hard to find the place of gratitude. And so what Les just said was she starts off with gratitude. Gratitude becomes this place of, well, let's just make observation. And so my question to you is, what observations can you make in your life that create gratitude? What can you look and see? And so some of those things for some of us we were taken for granted at one point, and now we've been kind of wised up because before COVID, I took some things for granted about health, and we took some people for granted before COVID. And so sometimes these positions that we're put in um, help us to think through, what do I see around me that merits gratitude? You want to add something there?
Mhm. Um, no, I mean that's good.
Okay. So part of my observation, um, typically every day, I I um I, I try to observe the fact that I'm mobile and active, and um, reasonable portion of health and strength. That's how the old folks used to say it.
Yes. Mhm.
And so that being the case, you do try to take advantage of the moments that you have where your strength is present, Because the truth of the matter is, you keep on living those things just by process of time and age. They change.
Mhm.
They change. And I was thinking the other day, I got to see my parents the other day. They were at church on Sunday, but I went over to see them at their house, and I was grateful that they were both there, right? And I didn't see my dad, but he was there. He was, it was a little early on a Saturday morning, but I saw him on Sunday, and the idea that the people that we love, that's part of the observation, and we still have those people, that we have people that we love. That's a great thing to express thanksgiving and gratitude for. And so, one of the things I appreciate about my relationship with my parents now, I have watched them get older. But guess what? They have watched me get older. I'm almost 50,
Mhm.
and my parents are around and alive to see that. And
And you the baby, one of the babies.
I'm one of the, yeah, I'm
One of the
technically,
babies.
I'm one of the babies. It really ain't but one baby in our family. Ain't but one baby in our family. But
What's
no, 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 we're not gonna, no, I'm not gonna do that. But here's we can't gloss over a siren passing by. That I'm grateful that ain't coming for me.
Yeah.
That's an ambulance. I'm grateful it's not coming for me. Our city right now is suffering in ways because of loss of life in the past 24 hours, and so we have to be grateful for life. We got to be grateful for health and strength. We got to be grateful for that. Um, and we can't take people for granted. Don't take people for granted. Let me say it again. Don't take relationships for granted. Because one day they can be there and the next they can be gone. And so um, the window that we have with regard to affecting people and people affecting us, we have to be deliberate about and celebrating the people that God sends to us, celebrating the lives that are connected to us. So we're going away next week um, to visit your family, and you know we don't go there nearly enough like we should. But each time I go, it helps me to, you know, when you haven't seen people in a year or a year and a half, or you hadn't seen them in a while, it just it's sobering. And so time helps us to put gratitude in perspective. Time helps us to put gratitude in perspective. So, what do you observe around you that you can be grateful for? Um, and so, simple things like, I'm not going to bed hungry tonight. I'm not. There are people in this city, there are people in our neighborhoods, there are people around the country, people that we know that live in food deserts, and people who won't have meals, and people who won't have access to finding ways of supporting themselves tonight, not let alone the rest of the week or next week for Thanksgiving. I mean, they will be trying to get into a shelter somewhere to have a dinner, to have connection, and try to have some sense of humanity. That kind of thing ought to help us be sober with regard to what we've been given.
Yeah. If I could just go back to you was talking about going to see my mom and my pop Patty. It just made me think about the combination of being thankful for what is there, and then also thankful for the time that was had for what is missing. Because just to kind of let our viewers into a little bit into my life. My mom and dad were not together during our growing up period, but I was grateful enough or blessed enough to gain a stepfather whom I call Pop Patty, whom we call Pop Patty, which happened actually when I went away to college. But the fact that he is there now with my mom is truly a blessing, even though I am, at a loss for my father, my biological father. But I am grateful even for the time that I was able to have with him. Um, you know, I miss the opportunity for time going forward. But you kind of think back on those moments, and even in the midst of uh, the sorrow that you feel for them, you can be grateful for that which you had. So it's kind of like you have these mixed emotions happening at the same time, but they both are. I just want to encourage people; they're both valid, right? Just because you are thankful and grateful for what you had before doesn't mean that you can't also be sorrowful for what
Right.
you're missing out on in these moments. But you think, in in those times, you think about the good times. I often reflect back on one time my dad came to Atlanta, and we have this picture of him holding Callie when she was really, really not too small, but when she was small.
Yeah.
And so and you stand grateful for those times and those moments. And then I'm also grateful that the family continues to extend, and that your mom and dad, I call mom and dad, right? And that they are, I've said this before, really precious to me. And so you're grateful for what you observe that is there in front of you, but also you're grateful for what may be missing and the experience that you had.
Right. So you mentioned it's really like a component of mental health, right? So the coexistence of um, what's present and what's lost,
Hmm. Yeah.
what's there and what's not. Those things kind of help calibrate us from a mental health perspective. And part of the understanding of spiritually, how spiritually we connect to mental health is the thought of, you know, I'm not trying to preach, but I put it like Paul said, like anxiety could be our disposition. We could be anxious about things. But he says, don't be anxious for anything,
Hmm.
particularly as it relates to when we're giving God our requests. And so don't be anxious for the cares and concerns of life, because anxiety will rob you of gratitude. And so the other dynamic is that um, anxiety, worry, these are subjects that really do rob us of good mental health. And so we have to put things in perspective as things are transitioning, as things are gained, as things are lost, as things are pending, things sometimes in limbo, sometimes things feel stuck. Um, but be careful for nothing, be anxious for nothing. Anxiety will rob you of gratitude. And so the idea is if you can calibrate to a place and assess what's been gained, what's been lost, where you really are, those things can help with a perspective on Thanksgiving and gratitude.
Yeah. And I don't want us to make it sound like it's easy, right?
Well, man, it's
So
really hard
where
sometimes.
you say you can be anxious, but don't. Like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, who wants to be anxious? Nobody wants to be anxious, right? So we get it. I mean, it's not like we sitting here, um, like you said, we're not sitting here looking down, trying to say, okay, you're anxious about this. Don't be anxious. I mean, it's life is hard, man. Life is hard, and but in the end, when when you when you get through a day. Sometimes it's just about making it through the day. When you get through a day and you look back and you say, well, heck, I'm still here, and I have another chance to, in some way, we're not going to preach, but in some way, give God glory. That's because we believe that's what we're here to do each day. Um, you got to keep pushing forward and know this. I just want to know this, that when you are able to, in some way, um, from pulling on the strength of God within you, that He's given you the power to, when you are able to do that, and others see you doing that, you are truly helping others. Sometimes just living in a place of gratitude and positivity and having a good mental health, sometimes that can be what someone else just needed to see. And they'll say, if he can do it, if she can do it, then I can do it.
Right.
And so, we don't lean on ourselves in order to make that happen, because in ourselves, we're just weak, feeble human beings. But when we put our trust in God and we're able to lean on Him, we can definitely make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So here's my second thought for you. So the first thing is, what can you observe? What can you observe? Because that should bring about some sense of gratitude. Here's another one. Here's your second question. What can you remember? What can you remember? Because sometimes we forget some of the stuff that we have been through.
Mm-hmm.
We forget the pain. We forget how hard it was. We forget the struggle. We forget the cost of it all. And so, first question is, what can you observe? That ought to produce some gratitude. And so you need to sometimes have these conversations with people around you, because you can talk yourself into a funk,
Mm-hmm.
and stay there and live there and camp out there, and so that's why you do have to have places of repose to help calibrate you, to create that sense of, okay, let's swing the pendulum back and try to find a rhythm for life. And so, first part is, what can you observe that can produce gratitude? Second thing, what can you remember?
So if we could talk a little bit about the pendulum and the balances of life, that's like, I think, a key point. Swinging with life, right? As life goes back and forth, kind of swing with it. Get a song on your heart or something. I always have a song on my heart. You want me to sing right now? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Nobody will be grateful for that.
I can sing. You don't know. You might. I guess I just need to keep it in my heart. But the idea of swinging with life, right? So you don't get stuck in one place or another, right? So you don't get stuck on this high that if something happens, you come crashing down, or you don't stay stuck in the bottom where you can't even pull yourself up. So yeah, I think that illustration kind of gave me a good picture of kind of moving through life, just swinging with it.
Ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, what can you remember? What things can you remember that will help produce gratitude? And there's this movie coming out this weekend, and
that's right. Make a joyful noise.
There's this movie coming out this weekend, King Richard.
Yes.
And so it's kind of a look, a glimpse into the life of the Williams family. Serena and Venus, their parents and siblings. And so I was listening to an interview about the movie, and the Williams sisters, Serena and Venus, were talking about how grateful they were about the path that they had to take to get to this level of greatness. It was hard, it was strenuous, it was stressful in places, it was
sometimes unfair,
demeaning. It was some racism along the way, some sexism along the way. Their family was being isolated and ostracized because here they are thinking that the parents are badgering the kids and being abusive. And they talk about the struggle, and they say that the movie captures some of their memories, and it takes them to this place of just tremendous gratitude. And what you are going through is not the total sum of who you are, but it is contributing to who you are going to be. And so the part of the thought of gratitude is if you're remembering things that you have been through, that's going to create a sense of accomplishment, achievement, success. And most of us know when we get those things, sometimes it's not because of us, it's in spite of us. It's in spite of us. And so I want to challenge you to think on that level as well. Not just observation. What can you immediately grasp and say, man, that's something that I'm grateful for. That's something to be thankful about. But you can also look retrospectively and say, I got memories of how the struggle was and how the struggle made me better. The struggle made me stronger, wiser, faster.
Yeah.
I sound like the $6 million
Right.
man.
I was going to say you're a $6 million man.
Yeah. Okay. And so the last question is, you can kind of see where this is going. What can you look forward to that hasn't happened yet? But here's one of the powerful things about the way God works. We haven't caught up with it yet, but we can start being grateful for it now.
There it is.
What can you look forward to that hasn't fully manifested yet, but you know it's coming, and even if it's not coming, you're coming because it's up ahead.
Right.
You're on the way to where that is, and maturity and growth and wisdom and a sense of sobriety, a sense of humility. Those things help us to think about things in advance that we know that are coming. So we haven't seen our daughter I haven't seen our daughter, and you were there with her for her birthday.
I was, yes.
So you saw her a month ago, roughly.
Right.
5 weeks ago. I haven't seen her since August.
In person.
She FaceTimes all the time. She FaceTimes, but technology kind of. But it's different, than being in somebody's presence.
It really is.
And spending time with the person.
Yes.
And so part of me is looking forward to, I know it's only been 8 weeks. It's only been 8 weeks. It's only been 8 weeks.
It feels longer.
It feels a little bit longer, yeah. But this is the most time she's spent away from us. And so part of me is looking forward to seeing what she's learned. And I'm not just talking academics. I'm talking about learning from self-awareness and God awareness. And
Yes, we do, sis. We miss her.
yeah, we miss her. Yeah. But what can you look forward to uh, in the days that are ahead? And so the end of the year can really be a tough time for folks with the holidays, and if you've lost people, and sometimes it's hard to look forward. Sometimes it's really hard to look forward. And sometimes we get stuck in the memories or the present pain. But I want all these places, past, present, and future, to potentially create places of gratitude in our hearts. So the thing that I'll close with, and I know we're a little over, but the Bible uses this verse, and it feels confusing if you really examine it. It says, as a person thinks in his heart,
Mm-hmm.
so is he.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's the challenge. Thinking don't occur in my heart, right? Thinking is a function essentially of the brain, the mind. But the scripture is challenging us to be different, to renovate how we think in order to be better people. And so I think gratitude makes us better people. It makes us kinder and more empathetic, and it makes us better listeners. It makes us love people better when we extend gratitude. And so I want everybody to think through those three questions and consider how you can find a place of gratitude. And I'm going to tell you, God loves when our gratitude. It's like playing His favorite song when we give thanks. It's like it's playing His favorite song. And so I want to be a part of that symphony, and I want you to add your instrument to it as well. So look, you got anything else you want to add?
That was great. Yeah, I agree. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for He is good, good, good. I'm gonna get my song in. I'm going to get my song in. Yeah. All right, y'all. Like, comment, share. Thank you for all your comments during our time together here. Really enjoy hearing from you as we're sharing. We do want to make it conversational, and just like you're a part sitting right here with us having the conversation. So do please like, comment, or share. And then we are also streaming on YouTube. So go ahead and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right underneath there. Go ahead and subscribe. And we'll come back to you on Thursdays. What's that? Third Thursday of each month. We'll be back with Grace2Face, and join us at iMetro. If you go to memphismetro.tv,
yeah, go to our website and get connected through iMetro. Some great stuff there to keep you abreast of what's happening and get you as a participant, as a engagement partner with us. Um, Sunday, come Sunday. Come check us out on Sunday. I think Elder Les is going to minister on Sunday.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
If the Lord says the same. So we look forward to seeing you 11:22 if you're here in the Memphis area. 1122, 258 North Merton Street, in the heart of Midtown Memphis. But we would definitely love to see you there. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We are Memphis Metro, bringing you ministry at the speed of life.